Welcome back
to the Not So Perfect Podcast. Matt Chinn here, as always, with
Gerardo Cornejo, and it's been a while. Haven't seen you in a while.
It has. Welcome back. Hopefully, you guys aren't mad at us for having a little pause, but had to get some things squared away. And
Just life.
Yeah, taxes this week for me is my life.
Oh, beautiful.
Do that tomorrow morning. But yeah, so it's just been a scramble getting things squared away. But yeah, so. What's new?
A little bit, a lot of stuff.
We got a new guy in the building.
Yeah, a new team member up in the front with
shout out Sal.
It's Mr. Salvatore Vasquez joining the Cornejo group, 19 years old and ready to learn from all of us.
Yep.
And he's filling in right in with the vibe and working hard. 19 years old. Shout out to Sal.
There you go, Sal. Keep it up, buddy.
And speaking of taxes and goes with government. Me and Matt, we're just going to empty out our brains today. We didn't really have a topic. We were going to plan on a topic, but I think the topic is, you might be thinking just as much as we are and processing, and there's just so much going on. So maybe you guys can relate a little bit to this and what we're hearing, what we're seeing, and it's just moving all so fast and everything's being thrown at us. So kind of a little bit of reality.
Yeah, I guess a good topic for this podcast could be what the hell is going on?
What the hell is going on?
Because, I didn't really have one specific topic I wanted to cover. It's just more of just everything we're experiencing in this moment, whether it be from the government or just how the world's working and just everything in between, from our local community here all the way up to the federal government up to, the way the world's operating right now.
The world, yeah.
Yeah, and... this isn't going to be an easy topic to talk about, and like I said at the beginning, I don't really even know how to go about this because it just seems like everything we learn is just more entangled and more entangled and more entangled. But the one thing I did want to kind of talk about is because we were talking before the podcast about what do we do? What are we supposed to do? With what we've learned or uncovered or just kind of seeing how things work behind the scenes. And the first thing I hope, not saying you have to, but the one thing I hope we can all agree on and put blue aside, red aside, first off, we're all Americans under God. And I hope that we can all just agree that put everything and all of our differences aside, we have to protect the kids. And that is, as simple of a statement as that is to say and hopefully to agree with, it sure seems like there's a lot of people in this world that are not wanting that to come out. And my personal opinion is, I've got a lot of leeway with forgiveness, me having to ask for a lot of it just with my life and what I've done in the past. But I have a hard line that I draw in the sand when it comes to children.
And you don't even have any children.
I do not, no. Mm-hmm. This is just something that's been... my gut, my soul, whatever you want to call it, has just been talking to me a lot lately about what you're seeing in the news, what you're reading on the headlines. It doesn't pass the smell test, and, at first I was thinking it was just me, but I've actually started bringing it up with some of my clients this past couple weeks, and I think there's an awakening happening, and that's, we were talking before the podcast, what do we need to do? We need to have an awakening, and we all need to unite together, Just throwing out some quick numbers. If there's 600-700 people in the government that are in charge, there's a lot more of us than there are them.
Millions.
Lots. So, I think the first step we got to take is we got to put the petty differences aside and focus on the main topic at hand, which is the children and then the people that are running our world. It seems like they're complicit.
Yeah, not just the country, it's the world, man.
Yeah, but again, where do we start? Mm-hmm. And I tell everybody, there's not much we can do at the federal level, but start with your neighborhood. Start with your own house. Start with your neighborhood. Then start with your city. Start with your community. Then your county. And this all has to just exponentially grow from, the people you interact with on a day-to-day basis all the way up to, what's going on at the federal and at the world levels. So, that was my initial get this off my chest thing. So, any thoughts?
Oh man, all of them.
I know.
All of them. It's scarier than ever. My kids. It's so scary too. I drive my kids to school every day. We love our community. We love where we're at, but like they leave my door and I just watch him walk away, and it's so painful to just like split. You know, you want to keep him, but you want him to experience life, real human behavior. But the last 5 years is what I'm boiling it down to. We've survived the last 5 years, beginning with COVID.
Yeah,
that's where I'm getting at. Beginning with that COVID and the whole scare and the whole world scare thing. I didn't take the vaccine. I've changed my attitude towards medicine, and we did, me and Stacy, in like 2015, because I haven't had health insurance since my parents. I got off my parents' health insurance. So it's like, hey, I can't afford health insurance, because at the time it was like $3,600 for all of us. That was more than anything put together in our lives, you know, mortgage and bills and groceries. So it was like, hey, we got to change our lives, and then we did. We did.
Yeah.
And knock on wood, I haven't broken any bones. Been a little bit safe. High rocks didn't break any bones, but being smart about it. And then came COVID, where it just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Like, who are all these? Who is this guy? Why? This doesn't make any sense. But then there was the scared part of my wife. Like, my mom's telling me to get it because we're going to die if we don't get it. Then my dad gets sick. Well, later during the year, when it finally hit Jeff City, like, my dad got really sick. If we would have had the vaccine then, he would have definitely taken it to see what would have happened. But I was against it the entire time, still am.
Yeah.
You know, completely honest, I still am against all of that. Here's all the results of that.
Yeah. Everything that we were called crazy for in 2020 is all fact.
Yeah. And even though we have all these facts, nothing's being done.
Yeah.
Nothing's being done. Where's Joe Biden? We haven't heard from him since
Sleepy Joe.
We haven't heard from him in a while. But he was our president.
Yeah.
He was the most important man in the world a year ago, 13, 14 months ago. And we haven't heard anything from him. So watching the government, and then lesson that my mom raising us, my grandpa was like, you do not do politics. Stay away from politics. You do not do politics. My mom always put that in us, like, stay away from those things. Stay away from those things. They knew that they had their reasons, but in El Salvador, we saw what it did in our government. You know, it was always corrupt down there. But it's just scary that they wanted to give us a better life, bring us to the United States of America, where it is gorgeous, the most beautiful. I mean, the whole world is beautiful.
Yeah.
But we got it really good here.
Yeah. You got it better than any other country.
In 24 hours, you can have all four seasons in mountains, beach. We have it all here. And then it really is just controlled by people that we can never, that will never get to that point.
No. Nope. And,
So the last 5 years, I'm glad we've survived.
Yeah.
Been scared to death the entire time. And I have 3 kids during that entire time.
Yeah. I mean, I remember whenever COVID hit and I was working up at Madison's, and, thank God a year before COVID hit, I got sober, so I had about 6 months to kind of get my life and my everything in order, good working order, kind of my pre-awakening to the awakening I'm kind of talking about more recently. But, had I not been sober or clear-headed at the time, whenever all this crap hit in 2020, like, I don't know where I would be. I would have been probably leaning into that, stay home, don't go out, because all I would have done was just stay home and drank. So I was lucky to be awoken before all the pandemic stuff hit. And, our boss was just trying his best to get us to take the shots. Trying to get us to take the shots, trying to get us to take the shots. And at that time, I was running 10 miles a day, lifting weights every day, doing all the things I needed to. I was in some of the best shape of my life. And, I don't ever consider myself a smart individual, but I am smart enough to know that growing up, any talk about vaccines, I always was told that it takes 20 years of research before any of that stuff comes to actual market. So whenever all this stuff happens in 2020 and, somehow we're fast tracking this experimental vaccine that no one's ever tried before, or we haven't done the research on, just didn't pass the sniff test for me. And, I was willing to bet that my natural immunity and my healthy lifestyle that I was living at the time was good enough opposed to any shot that the government's going to offer me a cheeseburger from McDonald's to go get. If you're being incentivized by the government with shit like that, there's probably a reason behind it.
That really did happen.
Yeah, this is not fake. Go back and watch clips. You got governors talking about how delicious these McDonald's French fries are, and all you got to do is get a quick jab. It's just like, that sounds like something somebody should be investigated for just off the top, but we won't even get into all that stuff. But yeah, and just in lieu of what Gerardo said and what I've been saying, we have to have accountability in this country, and that starts with what I talked about. It starts in your own home. I have seen, just the failure of men to stand up and protect what's theirs. That's their family, that's their kids, that's their wife, that's their property. These are the things that are non-negotiables, because if you can't stand up and be the man of your household and protect and be the protector, what are you going to do outside of the house? Somebody gets in your face and you're willing to take a $5 bribe so you can avoid being uncomfortable or put in a weird situation. That money is not. I'll use this example. Whenever I was at rehab, I had a counselor who I really look up to and still speak with to today. His name's Steve D. Shout out Steve up at Valley Hope. He's a counselor now. He's been in recovery for a long time. He was telling us the story about once he got sober, started putting his life back together, and he had some years of sobriety. There was an opportunity for him, because he was digging himself out of a financial hole, getting sober and doing all that stuff. It's not cheap. So he was struggling, and he talked about a story where he was with his daughter, and he was broke. He didn't have the money to whatever it was he needed, and he had a split-second thought of taking money from his daughter's piggy bank to pay the bills, to get groceries, whatever it was. And he had to stop himself, because in that moment he realized that me stealing from my daughter, first off, just say that out loud and see how it sounds. He said the second part was my integrity, my newfound sense of integrity that I have for myself now that I'm sober and clear-headed. My integrity is not worth the $5 that I'm going to take from that piggy bank, or the $10 in that piggy bank. But exasperate that by any number you want. If you have a number, that means your integrity is for sale. And as a man of your household, as the protector of your family and your property and your work and your business, it starts with us. It starts with us, Now, that's not saying we got to be kicking and screaming and fighting and doing all this stuff in the streets, but be the man of your house. Your wife is there to do her job, and if it gets to the point where the kids aren't listening and dad has to step in, there's a reason why me growing up, whenever you heard, I don't know if you were the same way, but if you ever got told, you just wait till your dad gets home.
I'm that dad now.
Never, ever talk back or disrespect to your mother or your brother or whoever it was that you were in trouble with, ever, because it was always a million times worse coming from dad than it was from mom. And there's a reason for that. There's a hierarchy. The mom's in charge of the household, keeping the kids in line, da-da-da-da-da. But does that mean they're always in line every single day, every hour, every minute? No. So the moms do what they need to, and when it gets past that point, then you call in.
Call him back.
The
closer.
Call in the closer.
Thank you, moms, moms are not awarded enough.
No.
For what you do through our lives. I mean, we can't be here without our moms.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. So again, that's my take on where we're at. It starts with the household. Be the man of your household. Be the protector of your family, whether that be your kids or in my case, I try and keep an eye on my parents, my brother, my nephews, my sister-in-law. It's just, you have to be in charge of that stuff, and you have to be prideful about being the man of the house. There's a badge that goes with that. It doesn't just show up in the mail because you've made it 5 years,
And it's leadership. I showed you that book. I'm reading a leadership book right now.
Yeah.
That it's scary. And it's scary now that dads don't even know what their kids are doing on their phones.
Yeah.
You brought up the video games.
Yes, and I've been telling all my
behind the scenes
clients
scenarios.
I've been telling my clients this last 2 or 3 weeks, and not because I want to change their way of thinking. A lot of people are just so busy, they have no idea what exactly is happening on these tablets, gaming systems, cell phones, whatever, any kind of any kind of thing. So the big thing that I've been looking into a little bit more is like the Roblox games for kids, Fortnite, any kind of game that has a chat room. And I didn't believe this until I watched the Sean Ryan show. He had a hacker on that was exposing these sex predators that are preying on these kids in these chat rooms. And they start the podcast, do the quick introduction, and Sean says, you know what? The hell with it. Let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
He said, pull out your laptop. I want to see how long it takes for you to set up an account and how long it takes to get these messages start coming in from older men.
Yeah.
That have no business being in a 6-year-old video game chat room. So the dude pulls out his laptop. He says, okay, just got the account login, and he does like a generic like Megan 16 or Megan 12 Minnesota. Name, age, state. And as soon as he does it, he's like, all right, just hit enter. I just uploaded the chat. My chat's open. And okay, 1, 2, 3, I'm at 7, 12, 18, 20. He's like, this is all happening right now? He says, yeah. So within 10 seconds of him starting or logging on to that game or that chat room, he was getting, and it wasn't just, a lot of kids, a lot of adult or few adults. It was 45-year-old dude, 60-year-old dude, 75, 56. Like, these are all adults well into their maturity age. And I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but Sean Ryan show, type in the child predators and then the Roblox. If you just do that on a Google search, it'll all pop up.
Wow.
Yeah, and this was, like I said, within about 10 seconds, he had over 50 people trying to reach out to Megan 12 Minnesota.
Wow.
And there was another one on shortly after that with Tim Tebow, who is a huge child trafficking advocate. He showed Sean a graph, a printed off page. And as of the United States, and he said, and I can't remember exactly if it was within the last 24 hours, week, or a month, but it was no longer than a month. And it could have been shorter than that. He said, the red dots on this page are every ping from a computer or any kind of wireless or Wi-Fi connection where they are either downloading child pornography, child trafficking, sending child pornography, child sex trafficking stuff via the internet, and it blew my mind. There were red dots.
It's all happening.
There were red dots everywhere. In my state, in my city, everywhere you think, they're everywhere. So, again, another great podcast to watch, Sean Ryan show with Tim Tebow, and it had me shooken whenever I was done watching those podcasts, just because I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I think that's just where a lot of people are at. They're finally just we're starting to uncover some of these things. And the more, again, it starts at home. What's your kid doing? What's he doing on the cell phone? Sometimes it's just best to put that stuff away and get outside and play. That's where your kids can be safe, where you can see them. You know who they're playing with. You can see that it's Tommy down the street and your son, or the girls from, the neighborhood or in the backyard playing on the swing set. It's just something that, I don't know. I don't have kids, so I can't speak to what it would be like, but boy, that sounds like a small reward and a terrible risk when it comes down to giving your kid the cell phones, the gaming
We're talking.
systems,
These kids get these cell phones for hours.
What's the average
Hours,
cell
and then
phone time for
the parents just don't know.
Yeah.
The parents, they don't care. They don't care either.
You know what? Your parents, you're in charge of your kids.
Yeah.
That's not an excuse.
Yeah.
I don't care how busy you are. I don't care how stressed you are. We've all got shit going on. That does not give you the right to let the person that you brought into this world suffer because you're too busy focusing on other shit. Like, that's your responsibility.
Like not parenting.
Yes. And you're not going to parent a kid with a cell phone or a tablet or a gaming system. Like, it just doesn't work. And if you want to use it as a reward system, that's another thing.
Yeah.
But when you're just giving it to them out of convenience because you don't want to hear them, Mom, 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 Mom.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm bored.
Hey, if you're bored, let's get outside and go run and play. Then you're not bored, But, again, it's just, I'll have the garage door open here and I'll see parents that are dropping their kids off and they'll sit for an hour, however long their kids are here, and I watch it every day. I'll watch parents over there sitting on the bench and they just scrolling through whatever it is they're scrolling through, So it starts with the patriarch, it starts with the matriarch, and it trickles its way down. You got to be the example.
And I
you have to be the example for your kids, because they are like a sponge. Whether they're not, you don't think they're watching, you don't think they're paying attention, these kids are watching and paying attention to everything. So if all they see you do as soon as you walk in the house from work is open up Facebook and scroll for hours while you're watching something on TV, like, it's got to change.
Or they see it.
It has to change.
They see it all, and it's hard being a parent. I understand that.
I'm
we
not
understand
saying
that.
that
Yeah,
it's not.
you a lot of 90% of your clients are parents.
Yeah.
It's hard being a parent. It's hard doing life, with kids. But there's no such thing as perfect parenting.
No.
That's what we did this year. It don't have to be perfect.
Well, hey, and you're going to make mistakes. And guess what? Mistakes are okay, but you have to learn from them, so you do them less and less.
And be present you can avoid mistakes.
Yes.
You can learn from other people's mistakes. You can see how careless people could be, but it is so dangerous.
Well, and that's part of why we started this podcast. I want people to know about mistakes that I made so they can avoid those. Like, do not go through what I did. It is not worth it. Like, I didn't wake up until I was 35 years old, truly awake to what this world has to offer, which is more than I could have ever imagined. Now, if you had asked me before I was 35, doom and gloom and my life sucks and this is what God put me here for, is just to be the town clown and, the laughing stock of Jeff City. Because that's how I felt, It just seemed like everything I was doing was right, wrong, and I was just constantly stuck over here. So just having that freedom to be where I'm at today, it's out there for everybody. If you're not happy with where you're at, there's ways to get better at things, and there's a way out. You just have to try.
And I think that's all human beings want. We just want freedom and peace.
Yeah.
I've nailed it down to that, freedom and peace. And then last week I did a thing with Pandas Awareness with a kid, and he's like, I just have these thoughts, and of course it's not a disease, but they don't. The kid, he just said, I just want to be normal. Like, I don't know what's messed me up, and I don't know his medical history. They are homeschooled, so I could just see it in his kid's face. He's just like, I just have these thoughts, and then asking him what activates it. But it's like, I know what you mean, dude. Like, I just want to have peace and freedom. Like, you get to go to a beach one day and then just like breathe in the fresh air one day, and then that's absolute freedom. And I back to our government. That's what they push here. This is the freest country in the world, but man, it
sure doesn't seem like it some days.
It's free as long as it's controlled by this.
Yeah.
It's peaceful as long as you do what these people controlling it do. And it's just gotten really scary. And we're all having these crazy thoughts. But congratulations to you, to me, to all you watching. We made it this far. We made it to this day with all these things going in.
Yeah.
Going in and processing, and 78% of everything on social media is fake.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good thing I have now, is I'm not really on social media, so I don't get
peace and freedom.
I don't get inundated with the spikes and the lows and the highs and oh my gosh, we got to break in this case and in that case and this and that. And that's not saying I don't get my information from anywhere. I'm just floating around in the day to day. But I have trusted sources that I listen to, podcasts, certain stuff like that. Anything that's going on, they bring it up. Anything outside of that is just background noise. So for me, it's it's just something I get my information from trusted sources that have proven time again they're not left, they're not right, they're just common sense, which it seems like this country is trying to bamboozle us with whatever distraction they've got to try and convince us that we're not seeing things the way we're actually thinking that we're seeing them. But, it's a mess. It's a nightmare.
I was just talking to a friend of mine how the baby boomer generation, how stubborn they are, but their whole upbringing was like,
they thought they could trust the mainstream.
Yeah, go to work 9 to 5, watch the news from 5 to 7, and then then go to bed, repeat it all over again for 40, 50 years till you retire. That's just how they got programmed. They didn't know they weren't able to say, no, I'm not going to do that. Some people did.
Yeah.
But it's just hard seeing their lifestyle. And then the medicine stuff. Like, yeah, you go to the doctor, you take whatever they give you because that's just how they were raised. So I know it broke families up. Back to COVID, like me and my mom were having big disagreements because I was or I just didn't want it. I wasn't anti anything. I didn't want it.
Yeah.
My body, I knew I didn't want it. My decision was made. I didn't want it.
And the other part is why does it matter whether you take it? Like, why should it bother somebody else that you want to or don't want to take something?
I chose that not to. And would it have kept my dad alive? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll never know. But it's a lot. It's so many things, and guys our age, they're not making it right now. There's too much stuff. But I like the point you bring up of leadership and not that moms don't get to be the heroes or as leadership as dads, but there has to be a man.
Yeah.
There has to be a man in the house raising these kids, or a man figure or father figure.
There needs to be the man in the household to establish and to lead by example. And again, lead by example by setting the standard, Yeah, if you're tired and you're fussy and you're a little, non-compliant and combative because you had a long day and you didn't sleep good last night and the day before, and your kid's acting up that day, maybe that's a one-off. But when you have somebody that's just continuously doing things that are overstepping boundaries, you have to put them back in those boundaries and let them know where they are, because otherwise you're letting the kids run the household. And that's not good. That's not successful. That's not good parenting. Your kids don't know better than you. You're the adult. Yeah. You've got life experiences. If you listen to your kid and all he wants to eat is ice cream, and then in a year he's diabetic, well, I want to do what the kid wanted. Because we're friends.
Well, there's medicine to fix that diabetes.
There's GLP-1s. We can just get him on that. We've got a doctor. He's already talked to me about it.
But those boundaries, and it goes to relationship with your spouse, which is very important.
Yes.
Who you choose, because it gets to a point where Stacy's like, all right, we need to have a check-in because right now we don't know which version of you is coming home.
Right.
So I prepare the kids. All right. Dad is like, dang, I didn't know that. I didn't think about that. But thank you for checking me and dealing with it now.
Well, and it might be something you don't even notice.
I didn't know because there's so many things going on. And
so again, communication. And we talk about this all the time, guys. It might be a hard, uncomfortable 5-minute conversation. It's 5 minutes. It'll be over in 5 minutes.
And especially coming from the person that sees you, knows you the most.
To keep the husband and wife on the same page. Because if, again, every day you're not paying attention, look how far that gets over 6 months, over a year, over 5 years, and then you guys don't even recognize each other. Don't even recognize the person that you loved and you married. But to change gears into more of a joking manner, but in the meantime, we're talking about stuff like this, but yet the federal government's going to tell you that the Dow is over 50,000, the NASDAQ, the 401ks, the retirements.
Hey, look over here.
Here's what I'm going to say to that, okay? From someone that really had to dig himself out of a big hole starting at 35 years old in terms of finances, I don't have a 401k. I'm not invested in the stock market. So all of these things that you're parading in front of us, and just to say that, I don't know how many other people like me, my age or whatever, have 401ks, have money in the stock market, are really putting money into the Dow, okay? That doesn't affect me because I'm not involved in that hierarchical of people with all the money. So in lieu of all that, how about we stick with the main topic, which was the kids, and we leave the stock market for another day. We'll talk about that when we get
the shiny objects over here, Matt.
We'll get the shiny objects over here. We'll get the kids squared away first. We'll put a pin in your NASDAQ and your stock market figures that you're going to throw at us like we should just shut up and be quiet because we're lucky to have such a great stock market. That does not resonate with the bulk of the United States. Mm-hmm. But for your 700 government employees that benefit from all of the whatever it is that's coming in from these different countries and from this and that, and we're not interested. We're not buying. We're not selling. We're calling you out. You're full of shit. We want to know about the kids, why no one's getting in trouble, why no one's behind jail. Not even just that, there haven't even been investigations. Have you sat somebody down and investigated them about why they were in these email chains after the 2008 arrest, where he was, from there on out, known as what he was? So that's
what
where
year
I'm at.
was that?
That was 2008 when he first got in trouble. So anything after 2008, they are very willing and knowing
Arrested?
participants.
When was he arrested?
2008, he was arrested for the first time for 60 charges that got brought against him. One charge was actually taken and charged with, which was the procurement of a minor. Now, the other 59 all had to do with child sex abuse, child trafficking, all this stuff. He only got one charge of the 60 hit with, and it was a sweetheart deal. Didn't get in trouble, got to leave the prison whenever he wanted to during the day and had to be back at night. So fast forward to 2018 when he finally got arrested for the last time. Here we are. Now all these people that have been saying they've never been around him or only spent 5 minutes with him, that are all now liars. Boy.
But nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening.
But nothing's happening. But like you said, all that's being thrown at us and everywhere right now, start at home.
Yep. What can you do in the meantime? You can start at home. Then you can start in your neighborhood. And then you can start in your community. And then you can start in your city. And then your county. And then your state. And just carry it out from there. But yeah, this is something that needs to be talked about, you know? And I was talking with a client the other day, like, man, where do you think this goes? What do you think we do if we don't get any changes? I'm going to go back to what we started with. Put the red, put the blue aside. We are one people under God, indivisible under God, liberty and justice for all. Okay? So what does the machine need to function? It needs money. Whose money? Our money. So if things get bad enough and we're not getting the answers that we demand as we the people, we'll see what happens if we can all unite and agree that we're not going to send any money to the federal government for taxes. What do they always say whenever it comes to criminal investigation? Follow the money. Well, we might just cut that spigot off, because if we're not getting what we want from our elected officials, you're not working for anybody other than us. So if you can't hold the bar, we're going to have to take it into our own hands, and that's going to come in, we're not quite sure what kind of ways, but it's not going to be great.
And it's world government, nation government,
this is
local
beyond
government.
Politics. This is about human beings. This is about human dignity. And I hope those of you listening have a higher power that you believe in. There's no way that this higher power that you believe in condones any of this at all. And if you're cool with just rolling the dice and just kind of keeping your head in the sand, there's going to be a judgment day where we all got to face our maker, and they're going to weigh out the scales of justice. You know, for me, my integrity is worth more than $5 from a piggy bank, or $100,000 to be quiet, or $200,000 to promote this country that's not ours. None of it. I'm so beyond all of it. I can't even, like, if you want to talk to me about raising taxes, I got nothing for you. Because how about we cut out waste, fraud, and abuse? Get these people that are behind the scenes that need to be put into the chopping blocks if it were up to me, but there needs to be justice. There needs to be justice, and if there's not, I don't know where we go from here. It's not going to be a long, fulfilled life for your kids, for your kids' kids, if it makes it that far.
We're going through a lot. Our kids are going through a lot. Our parents are going through a lot.
Yeah.
Grandparents, but it's a great point.
Yeah. So do we have a solution? No. But what we're doing is we're asking you guys to unite with us. Okay? Put the bullshit aside, the petty stuff. Okay? Doesn't matter if we're black, if we're white, if we're brown. We're Americans first. They want us to fight amongst each other, because that keeps the spotlight off of what's going on up here. So I know I know it's going to be hard for some of you to put those differences aside. That's not saying get rid of them, but hey, we'll circle back once we get our country back. But until then, we can't do anything until we all come together. So that's my plea.
Woo!
Yeah.
I'm glad you got that off. I know it's getting hot in here.
I'm not lying, dude. I've been messed up the last couple of weeks. It's just what's real, what's not. You know, they're trying to tell us, they're pissing on us, and they're saying it's raining. You know, we're not dumb people. We understand common sense. You know.
Yeah. In our generation, millennials and that in between stuff right now is we're having conversations.
Yeah.
We're at least communicating.
It's got to start. Got to start soon. So.
Well, let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, if you got any solutions or anything,
This
please
one,
throw them in the comment section.
Or where to start. Starts with this. Starts with your neighbor. Starts with your loved ones. Keep loving them. All we want is peace and freedom. And yeah, they're there, but they're not in charge of us. Like you said, hopefully the higher power or whatever you believe in, there's more to life than a government running our lives.
Yeah, there's more to life than being rich with money. We've talked about this in past podcasts. Wealth comes in. I feel like the wealthiest guy I've ever felt like in my life, and I'm 41 years old. You know, I'm not rich in terms of money, how much money is in my bank account, but I live every day free. You know, so if you're trapped, get out of it. Get out from under it. Okay, you don't need the nice new truck. Okay, if you got a truck that gets you where you need to go, drive that. Okay, you don't have to have the nicest shit. You don't have to be constantly putting yourself into debt. You don't. There is freedom that comes from being debt-free.
That's
freedom.
That's the big questions or the big things I'm learning now. I thought I wanted that. It was capitalism, and we get.
We growing up, guess what? First thing I had to do whenever I was 15 and started mowing lawns. My dad said, I'm getting you a credit card so we can establish your credit. Why would I need that? Because if you want to buy a house, you got to have established credit. So wait, they're wanting us to get into what? Explain that to me again.
That's what they don't explain in school because it don't make sense.
Guess why you don't learn any of this stuff in school? You have to learn it from your parents or from whatever. You just figure it out on your own, you know? Yep. That's the way it works, and they're programming us to think that way. There is freedom in being economically free from debt. So, do your best.
We are not perfect.
Nope.
But we do love love. We do love peace, and we're going to keep trying.
That's right. So, love you guys. Love this guy.
Love you, Matt.
Until next time, peace out.
Thank you.